What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review. Excuse me. This is going to be your review for the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip Season 3, Episode 4. So we start this episode off. It's a new day, child. They didn't have breakfast. We found out that the ladies were out that night at the pool and drinking and, having themselves a good time. Now, today is supposed to be Portia's day, but because it's raining, with the excursion that she had planned, they can't do. And so they kind of playing it by ear. And I think she ultimately recovered. She brought in somebody to do a Thai massage, which I didn't realize a Thai massage was so intimate. We're going to get to that. And then they played like team building games. And that was actually turned out to be fun. I mean, of course, it was a little shade in there, but it was fun. But anyway, let's get to the beginning. So, child, Whitney and Heather, I'm sick of them. So we have Whitney. Whitney was on the phone with Lisa Barlow, right? If you watch The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, you know who Lisa Barlow is. She's on the show, and Lisa Barlow is part of the reason why Heather and Whitney are not friends now, because allegedly there was a rumor about Lisa that Heather and Whitney knew. Whitney was telling what the rumor was. Heather was like, "Girl, I don't know what you're talking about." And Heather got mad at Whitney because she was like, "Why didn't you have my back? You knew about the rumor. You act like you didn't and made me look stupid." That's really where it started. I'm sure it's other things that have happened, but that's like the crux of the situation. So she's talking to Lisa, trying to explain to Lisa basically how horrible Heather has been to her and how Heather's lying and Heather's turning the story and twisting and got people against her, yada, yada, yada. So then we have Heather talking to Portia, basically pretty much the same thing about Whitney and why would Whitney put that out there about the Mormon list. She knows about that. She knows how I feel about it. Now, they acted like they caught with Heather in a lie, but I don't feel like they did, and maybe I missed it, and maybe I just don't care. But now, let me say this. I do feel like Heather has been inconsistent about her desire to leave the Mormon church. Heather said, "Listen, at the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper. I don't care. I have left the Mormon church. In my mind, I'm not a practicing Mormon. I've sort of been ousted, but ostracized. And at that point, I'm done. Like, I don't feel like I need to go through this whole paperwork." Whitney is like, "But you need to go through the paperwork because they use their numbers, for funding and for lobbying purposes. They say, oh, we have this many people that are a part of the church." So I get it from that point of view, but let's be clear, Whitney. It's deeper than that, and we're going to get to that in a minute. Okay, we're going to get to that in a minute, child. So they had these massages, and I did not know that a Thai massage gets that intimate. I mean, they was pushing them people's legs, and they was rubbing all on their body, and them women was oohing and on and moaning and groaning. It sounded like they were at a whole brothel, okay? But they were out in the public. They were out in the open, and, if it got deep, Bravo ain't show us. But, baby, it was a whole lot. But I know, I guess when I go to Thailand, I have to put that on my list. Okay. What I wrote this? Then after the massages, we had this scene where Heather called Jen Shaw. It was midnight back at home, back in Salt Lake City. So Jen didn't answer the phone, but Giselle was sitting right there, baby, and Giselle was waiting. If Jen Shaw had answered that phone, she said that she was ready to grill her. She had questions. I feel like that would have been a great moment for the show, but I'm really glad that Jen didn't answer the phone. Okay. So we have a barbecue. Now the barbecue ended up being almost like one of those Korean barbecue places where you cook your own food. Now I know they're not in Korea, okay? Where they have like the little grills on the table where you actually end up cooking your own food. Now honestly, I'm with Candace. Candace said, "Child, when you invite people to a barbecue, the expectation is that the food is going to already be cooked." Poor Leia, she said this would have been a really great, experiment for me, except for the oil that they're using is pork oil. And of course, I don't eat pork, so now I can't eat anything. Thank you very much. I feel like this place is too first class of a place for them not to have the option. How do you not have virgin olive oil? How do you not have an alternative when I'm sure they knew long before those ladies got there that Leia was a vegetarian or vegan, whatever she is. So, how do y'all not have an alternative for her? How do y'all not have a different type of oil? Now, I know Leah is getting on my nerves, but on that one, I'm kind of like, dang, that's messed up. Like, I feel like they had enough notice. Like, girl, they knew you were coming. Okay? They knew you were coming. So, Candace decides that this is the perfect opportunity for her to ask Portia something. And, of course, she has to get her napkin out, and she's got her... I don't have a napkin over here. I would fold it and put it in my corners. I know how Candace does with her napkins because she immediately started crying, child, before she even got a chance to say something. And Portia cracked me up. Portia said, Candace is either yelling at you or crying. Like, but you know you getting her real emotions because she either high or low. Like, that's it. So basically, she confronts Portia about something Portia said on the Shade Room as it related to the fight that the altercation that her and Monique got into. And she was like, you said that the only reason why I was suing Monique was so I could get a down payment for my house. And that is just not true. Now, when they showed the clip back, which I'm glad that production showed the clip back, what Portia said was, allegedly, I heard that she was suing Monique so she could get that, get a down payment on her house. But I don't know. That's what I heard. Now, what we found out is that Portia and Monique actually had a phone call. Her and Monique are friends, and friends. I'm gonna put that in quotation marks because I don't know if they're friends for real. But Portia said, Monique reached out to me because I've had a couple of, altercations on camera, and she reached out to me to get some advice on how I could best handle it. So she was like, it wasn't like we were talking ish about Candace, and Candace was like, yeah, but. You had a statement from Monique. Monique had an opportunity to defend herself, and I didn't get that opportunity. But what we found out is that Giselle actually supported and defended Candace. Like, immediately after Portia said that, Giselle was like, nah, Portia, that ain't right. That's not what happened. That ain't true. Don't do that. And Giselle literally was defending Candace in that moment. And Candace was like, but I don't care. It's not the same. And Giselle was like, but I had your back. Like, what do you, I defended you. She was like, but you defending me isn't the same as me having the opportunity to speak for myself. So I feel like what you wanted is for them to allow you to come on the show. Well, Monique didn't go on the show. Portia had just had a conversation with Monique. It's the same. So Portia was Monique's spokesperson, the same that Giselle was your spokesperson. I do understand that she said, well, Monique had an opportunity to give you a whole, statement, and I didn't have that opportunity. But I also feel like, dang, Candace, girl, what do you want? And why are you still holding on to this? Like, girl, it irritated me. Because I was like, we are right back here. Like, okay, Portia said something 2 years ago about an incident that you had that you didn't like. I get that. I respect that. But even after them saying, look, and Portia even said, hey, Giselle pushed back. Giselle defended you. She said that was really the first time me and Giselle had ever even had a disagreement on the show. And it was about her defending you. And, and Giselle said in her confessional, she said, I was defending Candace everywhere. She said, I defended Candace on the show. I defended Candace on the chat room. She said, I was in the 7-Eleven and people were confronting me and I was defending Candace. She was like, if that's not enough, I don't know what else she wants from me. Now, granted, Candace and Giselle are not in a great place right now. But y'all remember, Giselle absolutely defended Candace and had Candace's back. I mean, her reasons might have been self-serving for doing so, but she absolutely defended Candace and had Candace's back when it came to the Monique situation. But neither here nor there, so they had that whole situation, child. Okay. So the first game they played was basically it was Thailand's version of volleyball, and they played it in these elephant suits, and they broke off by show. So Marisol and Alexia were together for Miami. Potomac was together, Giselle and Candace. Salt Lake City was together, Heather and Whitney, and then Portia and Leia were together because, of course, they were the odd franchise out, so to speak. So, the volleyball game was won by Portia's group and the Salt Lake City group. Then the second game they played was they did the food thing where your partner had like these little baby hands and was reaching over and you had to eat the food. Whoever ate the most food, they won. So I think Heather and Whitney won, and then Portia and Candace won. Now here's what's interesting. Alexia and Marisol. First of all, I don't know why Marisol was the one eating. Yeah, I know Marisol ass don't eat. But Marisol actually spit her food out, and she was disqualified. Listen, I'm new to Miami. I'm new to Marisol and all of that. But I do think there's something with Marisol. They made a couple of jokes about that on Marisol's season about how she doesn't eat anything and how all she does is just drink, and when she does eat, she just picks over her food. Like, I don't know. I think we're really making light of the fact that Marisol may really have some issues. And I ain't going to put no labels on it, and I'm not going to put it out there, but I think y'all can read between the lines. That I really feel like there's something here that's not a joke. You know what I mean? Marisol tends to joke about it, and she said that the whole alcohol thing is a part of her brand, but I don't know. I'm really starting to feel like it's more to it. There, again, y'all can... Maybe I'm being a little extra over the top. I don't know, but that's how I feel about it. Okay. The third game was basically truth or dare, right? So Portia got to ask you a question, and either you chose to answer the question or you could eat. They had the scorpions there. Y'all know that in Thailand and other countries, you know, insects and stuff, they're like delicacy. So they had the scorpions there. They told them how to eat the scorpion, so they didn't eat the end part. And so there we go. So the first question, well, I ain't gonna get into the questions that people answered because who cares? The question that people didn't answer where they actually ate a scorpion, they asked Leia who on her season did she think should not return. She said, listen, I don't have nothing to do with casting. I didn't do casting, so I don't have nothing to do with it. And so she ate the scorpion. So then they asked Whitney, name 3 lies that Heather has told on camera. So Whitney was like, I'm trying to make peace. I'm not trying to have any drama. So I'm going to eat the scorpion because... Now later on in her confessional, she went to her confessional and she named off 3 lies that she felt like Heather had lied about. Of course, the first one was the black eye. The second one was about the Mormon thing, and then the third one was, I think she might have said the rumor with Lisa Barlow. I don't know, but you know she said that black eye. But in the moment, she didn't. Then they asked Heather. Portia asked Heather, "Who gave you the black eye?" Now, Heather, you told on yourself. I'm with Portia on this one because Heather ate a scorpion. Portia said, so the fact that you ate a scorpion tells me that you know who did it, you just don't want to say. Because if I truly did not know, and the game I'm playing is either tell the truth or I have to eat a damn scorpion, my answer is going to be, I don't know. I told y'all I don't know. I don't know what happened to my eye. But the fact that your ass ate a scorpion tells me you know what happened to your eye, Heather. Now listen, not that any of us believed you to begin with, let's be clear. But you told on yourself. Girl, I be trying with Heather, but child, she be making it so hard. She makes it so hard. Excuse me. Marisol and Alexia are bickering. They're sharing a room, and Marisol is really getting on Alexia's nerves, and Alexia is getting on her nerves. Now, y'all know they are best friends in real life, but look, even friends get into it. Even friends argue. Even friends have their moments, and she said, look, Marisol isn't feeling well, which is already making her a little snippy, and we're in this, we're sharing this room, and it's just a lot. So I feel like that's going to build up, and we're going to see something with that. I wrote Candace never satisfied. Oh, they were having a conversation. Okay, so Giselle is hosting dinner. She's doing a Mardi Gras style dinner and everything. her event was actually pretty cool. It actually turned out to be pretty cute. But ladies had to dress up in the Mardi Gras colors, and some of them had masks and stuff like that. And in the sprinter on the way to dinner, Portia, Candace, not Candace, child. Portia and Giselle were talking, and Alexia, they were talking about how Candace is never satisfied. Like, Portia was like, now see, if, she said, now if, they should be ready to call us bullies. She said, if I had come at her the way, if we had come at her the way that she was coming at whoever Candace was arguing with earlier today, she said they'd have called us bullies. It would have been bully, but it's okay for her to do it. It's okay for her to come at me and, come at her. She said it was okay for her to come at me and jump on me like that, but if I had done it to her, then I'd be a bully, right? So they were just talking about that, and they were like, Candace is never satisfied. Giselle was like, exactly, because I defended her. I had her back, and it was like that wasn't good enough. Like, I don't know what she wanted from us. And honestly, I said the same thing. Like, I don't know what she wanted. Other than an opportunity to maybe go on the chat room and tell her own story. Other than that, I don't know what she thought was going to happen. I don't know. So the Mardi Gras dinner was cool. It was outdoors. And they had all of the fixings of, New Orleans, fish and grits, red beans and rice, all that good stuff. Well, shrimp and grits, I should say. It started raining, so they had to leave from the outdoor dinner. And it was cool because Giselle taught them, first of all, they had umbrellas out there because, of course, it was part of the ambiance from New Orleans. And then she taught them a second line, which was cute. They did a second line to the little area where they were going to play the little game and have dessert. They had a king cake for dessert. So she gave the history of the king cake and all that. Now, she didn't get a history of the beads. And I thought that would have been a good history to tell about the beads. But she talked about the Zulu parade and all of that. I feel like, again, Giselle did a good job. I can't even front. She did a good job. So the game they played was reasonably shady. Y'all know she has the paddle, and on one side is reasonable, the other side is shady. So, and of course, she asked questions, and people had to say whether it was reasonable or whether it was shady. And she went around stuff that, had happened on the show up until this point. So, like, she asked, is it reasonable for somebody who is sick to still participate in, and she was talking about Marisol being sick. She asked, is it reasonable for somebody to take credit, for their show to take credit for another show being around? And of course, that was Alexia when she tried to say Miami paved the way, for Potomac. Now, Alexia did bring up a good point, though. She said, hey, our show was the first show that had diversity. We had, we had Latin American people from Cuba. We had transgender people. We had, a drag queen. She was like, so we had diversity before Potomac and Atlanta, which that's valid from that perspective, but child, Lexi, go sit down. Is it reasonable to call people bullies? And of course, Candace was like, it is if they're bullies. It is if they're bullies. And then Candace is gonna say, why does that word trigger you so much? The word bully is supposed to be a word. It is a trigger word. Like, the word bully, it triggers people. That's not a nice thing to call somebody as a bully. What are you talking about? What do you mean? Why does it trigger you so much? It's a trigger word. Child, then they got onto this Whitney and Heather thing again. And what I wrote in my notes is, do things her way. Whitney does this on her show. You guys don't look at Salt Lake City. Whitney does this on her show. She wants people to do things her way. So because she left the Mormon church the way she did, then Heather was supposed to leave the Mormon church the same way. And because Heather didn't do it her way, then it's the wrong way. And she is really sitting there acting like the way Heather left the church is wrong. And, well, why didn't you take your name off the roll? Why won't you do it? Why won't you do it? And Heather was like, listen, I have left the church. It is a piece of paper. And Alexia was like, girl, I get it. Because when it's just like with divorce. Like, you leave a marriage long before you sign the divorce papers. Like, I understand. And if you want to do it your way, or you want to do it in a different way, then do it your way. And I'm like, that's exactly. Like, that is exactly what it is. And because Heather is not doing it the way Whitney wants her to do it, then it's wrong. And Whitney does the same thing on the show. When people don't do things her way, then it's a problem. No, let people do things the way they're going to do things. It's their way. It's their way of handling it. Anyway, so that's what happened. On the way back on the bus, they were just trying to understand how Heather and Whitney get into these big arguments and then they get back on the same damn bus and sit there with each other. And I say the same thing. Now, when they left the boat, Heather said she didn't want to get on the same bus as Whitney, but they ended up on the same bus. See, now if I'm Heather, what I do is I'm gonna hang back and I'm gonna wait till Whitney gets on the bus, and whatever bus she gets on, I'm getting on the opposite. Y'all are riding in sprinters. It's not like y'all don't have room. Y'all got space. Anyway, that was the end of the episode. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll talk to y'all later.